Hello, my second grade friends, and welcome to today's phonics lesson for the day. Our phonics lesson today is actually going to look a little bit differently, and it's actually going to go hand in hand with our reading part of our day. It's not going to go with our reading lesson, but it's actually going to be something that you might do more during your independent reading time. So it's really important that you do independent reading today because it's also going to kind of tie into our phonics lesson and assignment for today. So we are going to continue doing our word collectors unit for phonics. And so I just want to start off by saying that you guys have been doing an excellent job with finding new words and really locating new words in the books that you're reading and really attempting to spell those words, try and find out what they mean exactly. You all have been doing a fantastic job looking for new words and really building your vocabulary. You guys already helped me build my vocabulary, and now you're doing the same for yours as well. So 2 thumbs up for all of you for being able to do that and really develop your vocabulary and find new and fancy words. So great job. What I want you to do for phonics today, and again, it's going to be part of your independent reading time as well, but what I want you to do is when you hear a word that is new to you, one that you might like to collect, and one that you're not very familiar with, you might not know what it means, you might have never heard it before. If you hear a word like that today, either in like a conversation that you have, maybe with an adult or somebody else that you talk to, or if it's in your reading, when you are doing your independent reading and you come across a word that you may have never heard of before, you've never seen before, what I want you to do is I want you to write that word down, and I'm going to tell you what I mean in a second, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so as you're reading today, be on the lookout for words that pop off the page, or words you have never heard before. So if you come across a word and you're just like, like I've never seen that word before, I don't know what it means, I want you to write that word down. And then what I want you to do is I want you to try and figure out if you can find out what it means. Okay, and there's a couple charts that I'm going to display for you right now that are going to help you hopefully do that when you come across those kind of words. Okay, so this first chart here is called Figuring Out What a Word Means chart. And so there's a few things that you can do. So the first thing that you can do, which is right here in this little square right here, it says make sure you read holding tight to what the text means. Okay, so make sure you read holding tight to what the text means. In other words, look, sometimes you might have to, like we did yesterday, you might have to reread the sentence that the word is in a couple times. You might have to reread the paragraph that sentence is in. You might even have to read the whole page over again. Okay, but sometimes rereading and getting an idea of what is happening in that story on that page can give you a better chance to really figure out what that hard word means. Okay, so sometimes you do have to hold on tight to what the text means and really remember, what is the story about and how can I use that knowledge to help me figure out this tough word. Another thing that you can do, which is in this square right here, says return to a new word and reread, asking what kind of word is it? Is it a thing? Is it an action? Is it a describing word? So in other words, is it a noun? Is it a person, place, or thing? Is it an action? Is something happening when this word pops up at you? Or is it a describing word? Is it a word that is describing a person, place, or thing? Or is it describing an event that's happening in the book? Ask yourself those questions. And again, it also talks about rereading. Sometimes you have to reread to ask yourself those questions and get a better understanding of how the word is being used. So that's definitely another strategy that you can try as well. The third box down here says think. What is this thing or action like and not like? So think about things that it might be like and think about things that it might not be like. You can even think about, what does this word look like? Does it look like another word to you that also might mean the same thing? And if it does, then try it out and see if it makes sense within the sentence, right? So look for that too. What is this thing or action like or not like? Make some comparisons to that with that word. Okay, and then the last one that it talks about over here is what's a synonym for the word? Or in other words, what is a like word, right? So for example, the word delicious, right? delicious, another word for delicious could be yummy, right? That's a like word for delicious. So if you plug that synonym into the text, does the text make sense? So if the word delicious popped up in one of my books and I didn't know how to read it, I could maybe substitute it with yummy and then see if yummy makes sense in that sentence. Okay, so this is a good chart that I'm going to post back up here for you guys so that you can use it when you're doing your phonics lessons, when you're doing your reading lessons, and it doesn't have to just be for today. It can be for the lessons in reading and phonics and even in writing that you can use in the future. Okay, the other chart that I wanted to show you, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's just kind of a more simpler version. I personally like the other one better because it kind of goes a little bit more in detail, but I wanted to give you charts that work best for you. So this one is called Figuring Out What Blank Is. So again, hold tight to the story. Read past that word. So in other words, again, if you don't know what the word is, and I think I actually talked about this in a few lessons before, but sometimes you can just almost like ignore that hard word and keep reading on, and maybe the words after that word will help you figure out what it is, so you can always go back to it and try it in the sentence, right? So hold tight to the story and read past the hard word. Return to the hard word and reread, right? So again, you can always go back to it and reread. Ask what kind. Again, is it a thing? Is it an action? Or is it a describing word, right? Think, what is this word like? Again, something that we already talked about. What is it like? You know, does the word look like something? Or maybe, you know, you can think of another word that is also like that word, right? And then try a like word for that word. Check that it makes sense. So again, my example of delicious, right? If you don't know how to read the word delicious, then maybe substitute it in for a word like yummy and see if that makes sense, okay? So these two charts, they're basically the same, but I just wanted to give you both of them so that way you can choose which one helps you the most and you can kind of pick from there. Okay? So what I would like you guys to do today for your phonics and as part of your independent reading is when you're independent reading, or if you're just having a conversation, if you're talking to an adult and they use a word that you don't know, this also can work too. But if you're having a conversation or if you're reading a book during independent reading time and you come across a word that you don't know, you've never seen before, you might have seen it like once, but you kind of just like, you know, passed on from it and didn't really, you know, pay attention to what it was. If you see any words like that, or if you hear any words like that today, what I want you to do is I want you to tell me where you heard it and where you found it. So if you found it in a book, write down the title of the book. If you had a conversation with somebody, you can just write their name. You can write, you know, if it came from mom, you can write mom or dad or whoever is in your household. Okay, so you can tell me where you heard the word and where you found it. I want you to tell me the word itself, what the word is, and then I want you to try and think about what it means. I know this is a little bit challenging for some of us, but I really want us to try and think about when we hear a tough word or we hear a word we don't know, what might that word mean, and really try and solve for the meaning of that word. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that just really quickly. So I made a Google Doc, okay? So when you open up the link next to our phonics lessons video, this will pop up. So you write your name, you write your date, and then it says, what new words did you learn today? And then there's 3 columns. So one column is the book title, so where, what book you found it in, or again, if you heard it from a person, you can just write their name in this section. Okay, what is the new word that you learned? So you can just type out the word. And then I think it means blank. And this is where you're going to tell me what you think the word means. There is not going to be a right or wrong answer. I just want you to try and guess what that word means. Okay, so don't feel like you can't answer that question simply because you just don't know. That's the point. Is it's a word that you don't know, and we're going to try and figure out what it means and think about what we think it means. Okay, so that's going to be our phonics lesson for today. I can't wait to see the new words that you guys come up with and the new words that you've learned, heard, and collected. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see it. And you guys have been doing a great job with it. So I know that you will find more awesome words to collect. Okay, so good luck. Hopefully you find some good words, and I can't wait to see them. Bye, guys.